Tonight on Emmerdale, newcomer DS Thea Ramsden moves ahead with her plan to stir up trouble for Kim, but could she be pushing things beyond the point of no return? At the same time, Dawn's plan to flee the village is stopped in its tracks by Joe. Here are 5 major moments from Tuesday's episode. 1. Thea and Serena discuss their secret plan. Thea tracks down Serena in the village to have a private conversation, revealing the latest developments in their hidden scheme to take Kim down. With Kim away and the residents of Home Farm preoccupied with Joe and Dawn's upcoming wedding, Thea decides to visit the mansion herself to search for information. 2. Lydia and Graham interfere with Thea's investigation. While Thea quietly searches through Kim's deserted home, Lydia unexpectedly returns and catches her off guard. Thea relies on her position as a police officer to justify being there, but Lydia remains suspicious and asks Graham to come and help. Thea's attempt to conceal her real intentions has immediately hit trouble. Could Graham begin to suspect that she is hiding something? 3. Joe delivers an unexpected shock. Dawn and Billy prepare to leave the village with their children, believing that Joe is away, enjoying his stag celebrations. However, moments before they can make their escape, Graham calls them to a nearby field, where they discover that Joe has actually stayed behind. 4. Dawn reaches her breaking point. Joe reveals that he has given up his usual stag plans and arranged a joint celebration with the villagers instead. During a clay pigeon shooting session, Dawn and Billy become increasingly concerned by the pointed comments from Joe and Graham and start questioning what the pair may have discovered. Unable to cope with being controlled by her future husband any longer, Dawn takes hold of the gun and slowly directs it towards Joe, leaving Billy deeply alarmed by the situation. 5. Kev finally comes clean. Kev finds himself facing Vinny's anger after taking his van from the scrapyard. When Vinny demands an explanation, Kev chooses to tell the truth and admits to his recent involvement in criminal activities. Could Vinny now be forced to break the news to Lewis that his father has once again found himself on the wrong side of the law? Emmerdale fans work out DS Thea Ramsden's true identity, and it could be huge. The detective arrived in the village earlier this week to look into the death of Dr. Caitlin Todd. While questioning Charity Dingle and Sarah Sugden, Thea also spoke to Serena Sugden. That meeting quickly prompted viewers to suspect that Serena and Thea had a deeper connection than they were willing to reveal. Those suspicions were confirmed in the latest episode when the pair were shown embracing. Thea and Serena are revealed to be extremely close friends, with Serena having travelled to the village to reconnect with her family. Before making the trip, she told her best friend about her plans and asked Thea to help her with a favour. That request has led to Thea secretly entering Home Farm on several occasions. It was later revealed that she is searching for evidence against Kim Tate that could ultimately destroy her. After speaking with Joe Tate, Thea also made her feelings clear, suggesting that she doesn't view him as the real villain. Instead, her attention appears to be firmly focused on Kim. But why is Kim the sole target of Thea's mysterious scheme? Fans on social media have now developed a major theory, with many believing that Thea could secretly be Jean Tate, the daughter of Zoe Tate. One viewer posted on X, wondering whether Thea and Serena were working together to get close to Kim, and suggesting that the detective could actually be Jean Tate. Another fan agreed with the theory, questioning whether Thea might be Zoe's daughter or whether she could have another reason for pursuing Kim. A further viewer was convinced that Thea must be Jean, pointing out that her focus on Kim rather than Joe could indicate a personal grudge against the Tate matriarch. The theory could suggest that Thea has returned to Emmerdale seeking revenge for her mother, Zoe, who strongly disliked Kim because of the way she treated Frank Tate. However, there is one obvious problem with the idea. If Thea really is Jean, why hasn't Joe recognized her? Joe has been heavily distracted by his stag celebrations and preparations for his wedding, so it would not be entirely surprising if he failed to identify someone he hasn't seen for many years. After all, he left the village for New Zealand alongside Zoe and Jean back in 2005, meaning a considerable amount of time has passed. There may also be another clue pointing towards Thea's possible connection to Jean. During Serena's recent visit to Home Farm, she appeared particularly interested in a photograph of Jamie Tate. When Ross Barton explained some of the terrible things Jamie had done to Kim during his time in the village, Serena seemed especially intrigued. That moment could prove important because Jamie is Jean's uncle. Serena's unusual interest in his history may therefore have been a subtle indication that she already knows more about the Tate family than she has revealed. For now, Thea's true identity and her ultimate objective remain unclear, but if she really is Jean Tate, her arrival could reopen a long-forgotten chapter of the Tate family's history and leave Kim facing the consequences of her past. Dawn prepares to shoot Joe and Emmerdale as her carefully planned escape starts to fall apart. Dawn has come dangerously close to leaving the village behind and beginning a fresh life with Billy, but their secret getaway is rapidly becoming more complicated. She had made up her mind to leave Joe after Billy became convinced that he was the man who attacked him and caused his devastating injuries. Unfortunately, their entire plan was built around a serious misunderstanding because Joe had nothing to do with the assault. The person actually responsible for Billy's brain injury was Kev Townsend. He had arrived at the depot to prevent his friend Steve from going ahead with a robbery, only for Billy to become caught up in the confrontation at the worst possible moment. Dawn remains unaware of what truly happened. Instead, she believes Joe is dangerous, aggressive, and capable of hurting the people around him. That belief has pushed her and Billy into secretly arranging a dramatic departure from the village. Their idea was to flee all the way to Spain and leave their troubled lives behind. Ruby and Caleb agreed to help by organizing counterfeit passports, while their own desire to see Joe brought down gave them an additional reason to support the couple. For a while, everything appeared to be falling into place. Joe and Graham were supposedly heading to Prague for the stag festivities, which would have left Dawn and Billy with the perfect window to make their escape without being noticed. But their carefully prepared arrangements suddenly became uncertain when Graham turned up unexpectedly at home farm, while Dawn and Billy were privately talking about their plans. His surprise appearance immediately unsettled them. Dawn and Billy could not tell whether Graham had heard something he was never supposed to know, or whether their secret was still safe. Things became even more suspicious when Graham took them to a field nearby, where Joe unveiled an unexpected celebration. Rather than going abroad, he had organized a combined stag and hen party featuring a clay pigeon shooting session. Initially, Joe seemed oblivious to what Dawn and Billy had been secretly arranging. However, some of his remarks during the gathering left the couple increasingly uneasy. Graham's own comments only added to their discomfort. Dawn and Billy began questioning whether the unusual celebration was really innocent, or whether Joe and Graham had deliberately created the situation to catch them out. With every passing moment, Dawn became more panicked. She was terrified that their chance to disappear would vanish, and that Joe could uncover the truth before they managed to get away. The mounting tension eventually pushed Dawn towards an unthinkable decision. During the shooting session, she took hold of a shotgun and prepared the weapon. She then lifted the gun and pointed it towards Joe, leaving Billy absolutely stunned by the terrifying turn of events. Dawn has convinced herself that Joe is a dangerous man who deserves to be stopped, but taking his life would cross a line that could never be undone. Now, with Joe directly in her line of fire, the question is whether Dawn will actually squeeze the trigger. Emmerdale airs on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1, or you can stream episodes from 7 a.m. via ITVX and YouTube.